Okay, the second video about this book, Child's Play. It's a group of 8 piano pieces that I wrote many years ago, and they're all dodecaphonic or 12-tone, 12-note style of composition using a 12-note row. My name is Margaret Dylan Jones. My middle name is Dylan, so my name is Margaret Jones. And I've already played the first piece for you in the other video, if you've seen it, which is Upside Downs. Now let's move on to some more pieces. Well, maybe I'll play that one again because it doesn't take very long. So Upside Downs has got the row and then the row upside down. Oh, it's gone off. How did it do that? Wasn't expecting that. Here we go. Usually I play it twice with a bar gap. Makes a bigger piece of music out of it. Now, the next one is A Lazy Day, and it uses the same 12 notes transposed. Let's see, what have we got? We go backwards, we've got the inversion, but it's the same pattern of 12 notes but transposed. Completely different effect, sounds completely different. Lazy Day. Now we come to the third piece, The Greedy Row Snake. This little piece was published in another book by the Australian Music Examinations Board, the AMEB, a long time ago. It was in their exam book, and because of that it sold a large number of copies, and I believe it was played by a lot of students in their exams. You know, maybe 10,000 or many thousands of students played this in their piano exams for grade 1 in Australia, and I heard from one of my friends who's a piano examiner that it was pretty often murdered by being played too slow, and I can believe that. It was also subject to a copyright battle I had with 3 companies many years ago who produced audio recording, or two cassette audio recordings and 1 MIDI recording without my knowledge or consent, and 2 of those are really awful, so I sued them successfully. But anyway, here we have a pretty decent recording, I hope. The Greedy Row Snake, and you can hear the 12-note row in the left hand goes through 5 times, so it's very obviously a row. Another thing I should say about this whole series of books, the 12-note style of composing was originally some way of using all 12 notes of the chromatic scale but without having a tonal centre, so atonal music. However, this music isn't really atonal, especially this one. This one is kind of almost in B major, which you'll notice at the very end of it. So we're not saying this is atonal music necessarily. Some of the book is pretty atonal, but a lot of it isn't. Here we go. The Greedy Row Snake. Which you have to say sounds like it ends in a major key. Fair enough. But it gives an introduction to the 12-note technique idea. Now we come to Reuben's Big Day Out. And the story behind this, I wrote this just as one of these pieces, and I imagined it sounded a bit like a conversation or perhaps an altercation between 2 dogs or something like that, or 2 people. And then subsequently, during the 1990s, Paul Keating was Prime Minister of Australia, and the opposition at the time wasted a lot of parliamentary time with lots of questions about the Prime Minister's dog, whose name was Reuben. Things like, is it true, Mr. Speaker, that the Prime Minister's dog, at taxpayers' expense, is dining on premium steak? or at taxpayers' expense, is in the lodge where the Prime Minister lives, getting central heating or heating. And it was a big waste of time. It was a terrible misuse of parliamentary time. So I subsequently dedicated this to Paul Keating, really kind of in honour of his dog, I suppose. But anyway, you can hear, it sounds like two dogs, which is like what kind of happens in Parliament sometimes. And one of the things I liked about this whole series of things was using the note row. It's the same 12-note row, but using it in different ways to bring out different qualities and characteristics that it has. So in this one, you'll notice that there's a lot of melodic sequences which weren't obvious at all in the other pieces. For example, and then followed by and that is the same row, but because the rhythm is a bit different, that has brought out those sequences which you couldn't hear before. So, and then the right hand has these clusters of notes, which sound a bit like a dog yapping, and that's the same row. So, if with a bit of imagination, you can bring things out of it that you might not have found otherwise. Okay, Reuben's Big Day Out. And those 4 pieces would make quite a nice little set if people wanted to perform them as a set. And then the other 4 pieces, perhaps starting with that one, so make 5 pieces, could then be another set of much more difficult pieces, including a duet and a trio, which could be done as solos anyway. So that's the end of this video. I'll make another one soon.